Do it this way. No, we look.
From the team that brought you the Haunted Files on ParaFlixx comes a new way to experience the unknown. This is the Haunted Files Unplugged, where the lights are low, the stories are raw, and the truth is stranger than fiction. Join Mike Delcoro, Eric Vanderlaan, and their special guests as they dive into the dark corners of the paranormal. From hauntings and cryptids to UFO encounters and everything in between. No filters, no scripts, just pure, unfiltered conversation from the world beyond. You're listening to The Haunted Files Unplugged.
Holy motherfucker!
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to the Haunted Files Unplugged radio show. I'm your host, Eric, and I got my buddy right over there.
What's going on, guys? My name is Mike Delcoro, and we got a great show for you guys tonight. And I'm going to let Eric tell you what we're getting into.
Yep, we got an amazing show. We have a returning guest. We have Billy Lewis. He's a filmmaker. He's probably an investigator in crime and in the paranormal, and he owns ScareNetwork TV. And myself and Franny just recently filmed a documentary, the Smallwood store, and we're going to talk about this documentary. Amazing location, and I have his trailer that I'm going to play. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let's check it out.
All right, here we go. Bam.
Chokoloski,
This is crazy.
Smallwood store.
We've never investigated this place.
The store was started in 1906. This building here is over 100 years old.
Ted Smallwood purchased half of the island of Chokoloski, I believe, in 1906 for $600. It has taken on water, I believe, 6 times on this level, last time being Hurricane Irma.
This is our gem on the rough island.
It's a little piece of paradise down here. The store, to me, is authentic Florida.
We're going to stand here and we're going to be quiet.
You definitely don't feel alone down here, even when you're just walking around.
There's a lot of activity in that bedroom, and that's where I seen the shadows.
Is that his original rifle?
Edgar Watson showed up in 1890s down in Chokoloski at the Smallwood store looking for property to buy. Other people, they would also show up and Ed put them to work. And when it came time for payment, they were murdered and dropped in the Everglades. In October of 1910, they confronted Ed Watson about what was going on down there. And as he went for his sidearm, that's when he went down in a hail of bullets.
Now, this is where Watson was killed.
Ed Bloody Watson.
What happened to Mr. Watson?
Is that Mr. Watson communicating with us?
I don't like to come back in here after I close at all at night because there is just a feeling. It's definitely strange.
Talk to me.
The Smallwood store has definitely stood the test of time.
They say at 2 a.m. people get chased out. You scared?
If the ghosts don't scare you out, the mosquitoes will. Mosquitoes are insane, but we're used to that, aren't we?
Yep, that's right.
So without further ado, let's bring out Billy. We're pulling him away from Monday Night Football, so forgive me for that, but here we go. Bam.
What's up, Billy?
Hey guys, how are y'all?
Good to have you back.
To the show. Yeah.
Yes, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
What's the score?
Oh my God, 7-0. They just picked off Brock Purdy for the 3rd time in the first half. Ooh. But they can't score. The 49ers are winning 7-0. But let's talk about ghosts.
Yeah, let's do that. That's what we're here for. And I'm very appreciative of you and inviting me to be a part of this project. Smallwood store is a location I've always wanted to investigate, and it did not disappoint, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that place is a staple. I grew up down here, South Florida, fishing, and Chuckaluski is like the freshwater. The inshore fishing capital of the world. I got a good buddy of mine that runs charters out of there, and yeah, it's like everybody that anybody that has anything to do with the fishing industry knows about Chuckaluski from that side of things. You know what I mean? And I've been by the store, never been in it. But yeah, I was always intrigued, and I knew the little story behind it. And this is very neat and very captivating. I'm into obviously into Florida history, so then I didn't. The trailer you put together is absolutely phenomenal. Looks great.
Thank you.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about what made you want to pick this location and kind of get in there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Mike. I mean, you say you're from down in that area. If you'd ever even been there, it surprised me that you've not been in the store.
Yeah, I have not, because a lot of times what happens is getting out to Chuckaluski is like you got to have the right kind of boat and flats boat, and it's a little sketchy back there.
Yeah,
getting through all the areas, like you really got to have some local knowledge.
Yeah.
And I kind of did a lot more offshore fishing, over here on the East Coast. So yeah, I haven't got the opportunity to really get over there too much, but yeah, so you just kind of.
Well, there might be a return to Chuckaluski Island, right, Billy?
Part two.
Your opportunity, Mike.
The haunted land of Ed Watson.
I gotta, that would be really sick. Yeah, I've looked into that area too. You got a kayak out there, right?
No, you can take a boat out there. Lynn, the owner of the Smallwood store, actually offered my last day in Florida. I live in North Carolina, but my last day in Florida, she's like, hey, we can get you out there. You have to be here 8 o'clock in the morning. She's like, but you probably will not be back till like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I had some other stuff set up already to shoot. And I was just like, man, I would love to do that. But if I'm going to do that, I would love to go out there with like an investigator or someone to spend a good amount of time out there to do even if it's during the daytime, to do an investigation.
Hey, if it's haunted, it's haunted 24 hours a day.
Dude, I've shot so much stuff during the daytime. Like that's just a myth that just needs to go away.
Yeah, I think what it is, the reason that I like to investigate at night, obviously, is less chatter, less noise, less everything. Plus you don't even have the birds. At night, even when you're outdoors and stuff like that.
Also, when you're using like a night vision camera or a full spectrum camera, you can get things that at night that you couldn't get during the day.
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit better, I think, but like I said, you can get evidence during the day all day long, especially when you're out somewhere secluded.
Gold Coast
like
Rail
that.
Museum.
That's right.
Really, I got plenty of shit there.
Yeah. I can just think off the top of my head, just 2 locations. Well, actually, both of them, the ones I'm thinking off the top of my head for other, series. One's true crime. We did some paranormal stuff, and we got better evidence during the day than we did at night during certain investigations. But yeah, if you believe in the paranormal, you believe in spirits, it's like not like they're vampires, like they're just going to sleep during the day. There's going to be activity day or night, in my opinion. So, but anyways, going back to the story on the Smallwood store, and how I got involved in it. I had never even heard of the Smallwood store, to be honest with you. I've been down to Florida many times in my life. But I've never been down to like Naples. I've never been down to the southwest part. I don't even think I ever even been to St. Petersburg and Tampa and that area. I think I'd always just stayed on the East Coast, Orlando, Miami, and Fort Lauderdale, and been out west many times. My wife and I love that place, Key West. We've been down there many times. But I have an old friend who lives, he was an old co-worker that I used to do a lot of video work with. He's an older gentleman, super nice guy. His name is Dr. Frank Lee. He's a pastor, but he's a consultant on some companies that I used to do a lot of corporate video work with. And he used to live part-time in Ohio and part-time in Florida. He's about 15 miles from Naples, and we don't work with the same company anymore, but we've kept up over the years. And he from time to time when he saw that I started the ScareNetwork, which is only, well, I guess January will be 5 years since I started ScareNetwork, but he and I have sparsely communicated since then. But he would see the stuff I'd be posting online, about doing paranormal documentaries or true crime or monster, stuff like that. And he would contact me and just kind of tell me that
there's some crazy shit in Florida.
So much. Yeah. So much. Well, I don't want to get off topic here, but that's one of the reasons I started ScareNetwork. My thinking was every town in America has a ghost story. Yeah, I mean, think about it. It really does. And if you dig deep enough, small town, big towns, or big cities. So if my original thinking was, if I can just capture half of those stories, not even half, then you have more content than you know what to do with. So that was my thinking from the beginning, was to be able to just capture those kind of ghost stories and tell them in a way this a good, you tell just a good story, and you just don't have paranormal investigations. You have good interviews, you tell the history, yada yada. Anyways, so he just kept mentioning some different things down there, and then he introduced me to Todd, who you saw in the trailer, Todd Dawkey, and he was a producer on this thing. I would have never been able to A, shoot in that place, B, Todd told me a lot about the history, and he introduced me to the owner, Lynn, and he was very very kind, because I had never met Todd in person before I went down to Florida back in June when we shot. And so if it wasn't for Todd kind of spearheading us being able to film in there and getting the permission from the owners, because Lynn, the owner, the current owner of the store, she's allowed some obviously some other teams to do investigations in there, but she said that they're also very I guess picky when it comes to allowing teams and filmmakers and whoever to film in there as well. So I was I was very thankful to her, and I just kept telling her thank you 1,000 times. So when she gave us the green light, and then I was able to line up some other stories while I was down there as well, because when I go and film, I try to stay gone for like a week, but I try to do multiple documentaries or series or whatever it may be in that time. So and then I started reading, going back to Smallwood store, I started reading the stuff about Ed Watson, and you mix in the kind of the true crime, and I guess what intrigued me more than anything is a lot of people, this can't be proven, but a lot of people label Ed Watson as the first serial killer ever in the United States. Again, even that can't really be proven, but they're saying that he, with the amount of people he killed, his workers, and he had the murder of Belle Starr out in Oklahoma, and there was some other stuff. I just heard some fascinating stories about him, and Todd gave me some really good stories. And so while I was down there shooting the paranormal thing, I was simultaneously shooting a true crime story on Ed Watson. So I'm going to produce that separately, the best I can. I think I need to get a few more interviews and do some more with that. But he got murdered 115 years ago. So it wasn't 15 years ago. It was 115 years ago. So that's, how much truth and how much legend.
A lot of people don't know about the story, even locally.
No. But there's been, that the Matheson, Peter, I think his name is Peter Matheson. I haven't read them, but he wrote, I believe it's 3 books called Killing Mr. Watson. And then whatever the first one was, but it was a New York Times bestseller back in, I think, the 90s. And I think I need to read them. If I'm going to produce a true crime story on it, I probably need to read them. But
And
apparently,
can you tell like the listeners and the watchers, like without giving away too much,
yeah.
like the backstory behind Edgar Watson?
Yeah, so Ed Watson was a guy who was born in South Carolina in probably late 1860s, early 1870s. And I think his father, from what I've heard, and I'm maybe a little bit rusty, I don't want to butcher the story, but his father was a mean guy, kind of abusive, maybe alcoholic. So I think Ed kind of ran away, early teenage years, and somehow he ended up out in Oklahoma. And apparently he was running with the Jesse James gang. So I mean, it's just, it's a crazy story.
Right.
And apparently Frank James, Jesse James's brother, had a kid with this outlaw named Belle Starr, but at the time he wasn't a kid. He was probably early 20s. Their son together. And the story goes that Belle Starr's son with Frank James, hated her as well. So apparently Ed Watson had a little bit of land out there, and he was renting it to Belle Starr, and she was stealing his cattle or something, and there was a dispute between them. And the rumor is that he and her son were together, and she was on a horse, and one of those guys shot her in the back and killed her. And so he got arrested and actually went to trial, and he got acquitted because there wasn't enough evidence to prove whether he did it or not. So when he got acquitted in Oklahoma of that murder, he came down to Chokoloskee and that area, Southwest Florida, and he bought a bunch of farmland. I guess he had made money out in Oklahoma, so he had money to buy the farmland on one of the islands near Chokoloskee and near the Smallwood store. And the story is he would hire a bunch of farm workers to work on his farm. Well, these farm workers were kind of themselves running away from problems and weren't, the best people in the world.
A lot of those people down there were escaping from the law.
Yeah, because it was such an I guess during that time, it's such an isolated area.
It still is.
Yeah, it is. Trust me.
Yeah.
But the rumor is he was killing a lot of his workers versus pay.
That'll definitely cut down overhead cost.
Did I freeze or did Billy freeze?
Billy did.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is that, there's like a bridge that goes to the island. And the interesting thing about that island, it's a man-made island by, I think, the Calusas. And it's built by Shell Mitten, which is pretty interesting. Oh, he's stuck.
He'll probably, he just jumped out, so he'll probably be right back in. You know what? Maybe we can do a little early commercial break.
Oh, he's back.
All right.
That was my bad, man. My internet, like 30 minutes before we came on, it just started spinning, and it never does that. Like, it stopped. All of our TVs are smart TVs, so it's just all off the internet, and it just started, and it just did the same thing. So I apologize for that.
No worries. We only lost like a few seconds there. At the
Okay.
end.
Yeah. I made a quick reference to like how there wasn't a bridge there, and Chokoloskee Island,
Yeah,
a man-made island.
Exactly. That bridge wasn't built until 1956. So going back to what Mike said, I mean, the only way to get there up until 1956 was by boat. So you're talking about being isolated and stuff out there. But long story short is he was killing, or supposedly killing a lot of his workers. When he got confronted about it, he blamed it on his right-hand guy, a guy named Leslie Cox. But what really set off the mob that ended up killing him was apparently he had some land on one of the islands that he was renting to this man and woman, and the woman was apparently pregnant, and they were like late on the rent for whatever going on 5-6 months, and he was fed up, and he told them to vacate his property. And they said they were not going to, and apparently they walked away from him. And as they walked away, he shot and killed both of them. And that was pretty well documented that he did kill them. And they were kind of local. They weren't the kind of stragglers who were coming in and working for him, from what I've heard. And so I think that was the straw that broke the camel's back, is when he killed a pregnant woman and her husband, like in cold blood, just because they were late on the rent of his land or his property.
You know, that's interesting that you said that. Is do you think they brought her to Smallwood when she was shot?
I don't think so. From what I've heard, he shot him and killed him on the spot, and killed the baby too.
Because remember, I was telling you we were doing that thing. We were going to do an event there, and we were going to film like a little trailer thing. And Mary Lynn went there, the psychic medium, and she was talking. I believe she was talking about a lady that was shot. And I didn't know about
possibly.
That story.
No, I don't know where the location was of where that happened. I don't think it was right there on the island.
But maybe when they shot and killed them, maybe, that crowd that was there that shot them, maybe they were discussing about the lady.
Yeah, I mean, she could probably pick up on it because if it was all tied in with everything.
Exactly. Yeah, it was. And so that's interesting. But so around maybe the second week of October in 1910, there was a bad hurricane that came through and nearly destroyed the Smallwood store and all that area down there. And a lot of people got killed. They didn't name storms back then. But apparently after that storm, when everybody's trying to, tensions were high and it was hot again. And that's when the mob, I guess, had enough of him. And that's when he rode up on his boat. That was another thing, that he was the first one to have an engine on his boat out there. And they said that sparked a lot of jealousy too, that he, was able to afford an engine on his boat when everybody else was having to paddle and stuff. But, long story short, he blamed it on his, like I said, his right-hand guy, Cox, Leslie Cox. And he's like, give me some time, I'll go and take care of it. He supposedly went and killed Leslie Cox, brought back a hat that had a bullet hole in it, and said that I killed him. And that wasn't enough for the mob. They were fed up. And apparently after the storm, I guess the bullets that he had at the time were all made of paper, and they got wet during the hurricane. And he pulled out his handgun or shotgun or whatever, and was going to try to fire on the crowd. And when he pulled it out to shoot, it wouldn't do anything because his bullets were wet. And when the crowd saw him do that, they all had guns, and they apparently he had 60 to 80 bullet holes in him from what I've heard.
Lit him up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, why is it, I don't know why. That's such a fascinating story. Why has there not been a big motion picture made of that? And I asked Lynn that same question, and she's like, man, there's been talks about that for years, and just nothing has happened with it. But that's a fascinating story. Right?
I've noticed that with a couple things here in Florida, where there's been some really, really interesting stories. And they just never really did anything with them. That it's like right here, it's like, man, this is perfect for a motion picture.
Yeah.
But I think that the state of Florida kind of puts the kibosh on things like that, because I think they want, they don't want to scare or just any kind of bad publicity, I guess, because it's such a touristy area, and
Disney World and everything.
Yeah, and like a lot of our money down here is from tourism stuff. I mean, but why would that matter from 115 years ago? But there's some other stuff that there was a little bit more modern that I was wondering the same thing.
They did the Eileen Warnos, remember?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
they're getting ready to do it again. That show Monster that just came out, the Monsters with Ed Gein. Yeah. They're doing a one on her. Yep.
I didn't know that.
They're actually doing Lizzie Borden next.
I've heard that. I didn't know if that was true or not.
I actually got to investigate. Well, Mike did after they demolished it, but the prison, the correctional facility that she originally was,
Really?
at Broward Women's Correctional Facility, and it's like right near where we live. But she was later sent up north where she was later executed. But man, we got some crazy stuff there. And Mike like wasn't around when when it was still there and abandoned. We got some crazy stuff there.
So
but
I actually still have
back.
that. I have that EVP here loaded already.
Yeah, and we went back, and it was still active after it's been demolished. Like there's like rubble and stuff, and they built like warehouses, but the other half of it is still remaining and all in rubble. Yeah, and Mike was saying we caught an amazing EVP after the whole thing's been torn down. It was wild.
So residual, we feel that it was residual. And you know what's messed up is this, right? So we were with our friend Joe, and he's very intuitive, and we kind of said, kind of lead us to where you're feeling a presence, and kind of walked us over to an area. And don't forget, like he said, it's just rubble now and weeds. And we happened to look on Google Maps, and the Google Map image still showed the building being there.
Yeah.
So where we were, and you look at Google Maps, and Eric was familiar with the building, we were in Death Row. And we got this EVP. I'll play it. It's only 10 seconds long, so I might have to play it a couple times.
Best EVP I ever captured.
Clear as day. Someone help me.
Did you get to hear it?
Yeah, I heard it.
Pretty wild, right?
So you got to remember, we're in a field, and it's like, 1 a.m.? We got a table out there, and there's nobody around. And it was just like us 4 dudes, I think.
Yep.
And we got a woman saying, someone help me. Like, how wild is that? Like, right by Death Row, where it used to be.
Like, almost like whispering, like, someone please help me. Like, it's freaking wild.
Yeah. She was an evil, evil human being.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I've thought about, but I know, her upbringing had a lot to do with that too, but still, there was still something off, man. And I just, what did I do?
You know what fascinates me? I mean, you're into the true crime stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just some of these interviews and things with these people. And just, I think that's what fascinates, the population with true crime stuff, is because it's like almost unimaginable how there's no remorse for certain people, and they just don't have that, that thing in your brain that says you shouldn't be doing this, or that, you know what I mean? Like, or that thing that,
well, they're missing that part of their brain. Like,
no, I know. And it's hard to imagine. It's hard to think about, because you know what I mean? Like, an average person watching this goes, how in the world? Like, it's just hard to comprehend. If ever,
well, it's funny,
that,
if
like,
you watch the Ed Gein thing, the series, at the end, they were like, they were interviewing all these serial killers, and they were saying, like, Ed Gein's my idol. I learned everything from him.
What?
Yeah, look up to him. Yeah.
Oh, so we watched the first 6 episodes. We haven't watched the last 2 yet, so don't give it away.
Yeah,
I'm bad about starting a series, but and then not finish them. It drives my wife nuts. That's why she just plows through them, and she's like, I'm not waiting for you to watch them.
Yeah, I don't want. I was gonna.
Yeah, don't
say something. I'm gonna ruin the whole Ed Gein.
Yeah, don't do it. I know a lot about it. So I've produced enough true crime stuff now, and when I get interviews about because when I produce these things, I try to, if I can interview like district attorney or police officer or whatever, people who had something to do with the aftermath or whatever, and I ask a lot of them. I'm like, how much does this individual's the way they were brought up have to do with the way they turned out and the things that they did? And I think that plays a pretty big
oh yeah, huge
yeah,
and
it
especially
is.
in if you look at psychology and the way that they everything stems in their theories, everything stems from trauma as a child, and different things. And they kind of adapt. And, some of the serial killers and things, they kind of, a lot of them that have the gender dysphoria and different things and all these things are because of for men, it's usually like mother issues, and for women it's father issues, right? And different things of that nature. And I know a couple of them, the mothers or would tell their sons, I wish I had a daughter, or treat the daughter one way and then treat the other one like a real piece of crap. And then that's kind of what they would turn out to do. It's like kind of like that Gein stuff, plus there you have to have a chemical imbalance and a screw loose. It's almost like you have to have like the perfect storm. You know what I mean? Like not everybody that has gone through trauma as a child is going to be a twisted person. It's you got to have that perfect storm.
Yeah, I got another. I was gonna say I got another true crime thing for you guys. I didn't have anything to do with it, or I ain't done anything on it. But remember Andrew Cunanan that killed Versace down there? What a nut job that guy was. That guy just went across the country killing people.
I would like to check investigate the Versace mansion.
I've eaten there. And it's right in the same place, and he died right there on those steps. But when I ate there, it was like 6-7 years ago, and it's so noisy out there. It's not really,
that's the problem.
But isn't it amazing when you can like put in the true crime and a good paranormal?
Man, I'm telling you, the two big series that I did. Hold on, I'm gonna show you guys something. Was about younger guys. Like the Devil in Bel Air did a 4-part series. It was about the 17-year-old kid who killed his mom and his dad. He decapitated his dad, put his head in a punch bowl, and then I did another one. Let me see if I can turn my computer on. You see that one up there? Let me point. Ooh. It's called the
Westmoreland Horror.
Yeah. So I shot that in Tennessee back in January, and that was about this 25-year-old kid who he killed 8 people in one fell swoop. 8 people, including his mom, his dad, a 12-year-old girl, his uncle, his grandmother, and I don't did I tell you about that week? 25. And this happened in 2019, and I interviewed the district attorney.
Recent.
And I tried to interview the guy in prison, but Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said that they didn't allow interviews with prisoners, which I didn't believe that. But anyways, long story short, I got on the land where it happened. It happened in a trailer, and there's a new owner on the land. They took the murder trailer. New owners took the murder trailer, and about 500 feet from where their trailer sits, they dug a big hole and put the murder trailer in the ground behind there. We got on top of we were doing an investigation, and I was working with the 2 of the guys from the Tennessee Race Chasers. They've had a couple of shows, Haunted Towns, and and a couple other shows, whatever. So I was working with 2 of those guys, and we're sitting there doing a thing where he actually killed 6 people in the trailer and 2 other isolated murders. But the responses we were getting blood, we were getting devil, obviously Satan. But then we went inside the house of the new trailer on the land, and we didn't get much in there inside the actual on top of the land where it happened. So anyways, to go back to what you're saying, like if you can, that's what I love, mixing a true crime with the paranormal stuff, because it just really validates. We went to, in that same series, we were on the land of a woman that this guy killed who lived about a mile from his house. And you should hear the response of Spirit Box. It's in the trailer. There's a 15-second thing where you hear a woman's voice saying, "Help, he killed me." And we're about 30 feet from where she actually died, like 5 years earlier. It is insane.
I think there's something about that too, right? Like, say, if there's an elderly person and they're dying of something that natural causes or whatever, and they're ready. They're like, all right, I'm ready to go on, and that's it. But when you have a murder case and there's something with that much trauma and that much, everything going on and all the emotions and the just the evil, right, and everything that's going on with that, and maybe the person isn't ready to go, and they're struggling, and they're struggling in their afterlife to move on. They're still here, and I think that kind of breeds the paranormal when you bring things into that nature. You got the victim that might not want to move on or might not know what's going on, or and then you have all the darkness and everything, that residual energy from all the negative stuff that went on, and
it was such a
any Native American a Native American Indian history on that land?
I'm sure this was in West. Well, I think there was a Civil War battle right near that land too. But I did talk to a lot of residents, and they did mention Native Americans, but I never got like a detailed history of Native American land. This was in Westmoreland, Tennessee. It was about 30 or 40 minutes north of Nashville in upper Tennessee, kind of near the Kentucky border. But when he attacked that woman, where we got insane responses. And this kind of goes back to Smallwood. We didn't even realize in real time. We didn't hear them when they actually happened. When I went back and edited, I was hearing those responses and my jaw dropped. But that woman knew the guy. So he knocked on her door. She opened up the door for him. She turned her back and he attacked her with like a hammer or something. It was really violent and really, really awful. Yeah. All to steal her car. Hey, listen, all to steal her car. And the idiot didn't even know how to drive a stick shift. Her car was a stick shift.
Huh.
So he wrecked it in a creek like half a mile up the way. And then his parents heard about it. And that's why he ended up murdering his parents. His parents heard that he had stole her car. So it's crazy, man, the dynamic of people, why they make the decisions they make and whatnot. But going back to all that, I don't know if you got, I guess you have what Eileen Warren knows. So I guess there's a hint of true crime almost. Most haunted locations, there's some true crime. Oh, yeah. Now, whether you pull the story out and you are able to communicate that with an audience, and then you match up that.
There was a place. Evidence. There's a place that we used to investigate all the time at Yesteryear Village. It was an old house that they set up as a Bell South Museum, right? And
Telephone Museum.
Yeah.
For Bell South.
I remember Bell South.
And, they had all the different things in there. But it was a really old house that they just kind of converted into this. But I guess there was...
the L Street house.
Yeah, so there was a police officer that was there one time, and she said, "Oh yeah, the first case that I ever worked was a murder in this."
She was on our team. It was Darlene.
Oh wow,
yeah.
And then, a woman chopped up the husband in the bathtub there, and it was like an old house that they just saved, from it being a historical home, and they just turned it into this Bell South Museum. But yeah, it had a really dark past. That right now we got a good chance to take a quick little break. We got some commercials we got to run, and then we're going to be right back with you, Billy.
Sounds good.
What's up? Mike and Eric from the Haunted Files here, and we got these pieces of paranormal equipment in our hand. Why is that?
Because we want to give a big shout out to the Ghost Hunter store, our sponsor. And you might see some of this equipment on your favorite ghost hunting shows. Is that right, Mike?
That's right, especially the Haunted Files on ParaFlixx.
And we're going to give you a special code for a discount on these devices.
That's right. So if you go to the Ghost Hunter store, you go to the website, when you check out, if you enter the code Ghost Gone Wild,
not Girls Gone Wild.
That's right. You get a discount on your purchase. So check them out. They're your one-stop shop for everything paranormal.
What's up, everybody? I'm Eric, and this is Mike from the Haunted Files. And Mike, we got something special to tell everyone, right?
We do. We have an amazing product here. This is from Haunted Happy Hour, where they make spirit-infused coffee. And what's cool about this product right here is it's the Haunted Files edition. It's a Dark Isles brew.
Yep, and it's got a blend of Irish cream, pistachio, and dark rum. A perfect blend to awaken your dark side, right, Mike?
Hell yeah, it is. And if you're feeling sluggish or you are ready to investigate all night, this is for you, man. And it's amazing tasting. And not only that, but what did ParaFlixx do for us and for the fans?
Well, you're going to get a special discount code that's on the package, and you're going to be able to get 3 months for free ParaFlixx. And who can they watch, Mike?
Well, they can watch us and all the other amazing investigators on the ParaFlixx platform. So get yours today, and make sure you check out ParaFlixx and the Haunted Files.
And if you're feeling dead inside, get caffeinated with Haunted Happy Hour.
Are you ready to explore the unknown?
Eventually.
Brace yourself for a journey into the supernatural. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, your gateway to the paranormal, all-in-one streaming service. Dare to explore, dare to believe, dare to stream alone.
It does not want us here.
Sign up now and embark on a supernatural adventure like never before. ParaFlixx Paranormal Plus, the universal home of paranormal.
So, guys, if you don't already know, Eric and I have a show on the ParaFlixx called The Haunted Files. We're filming season 4 now. So right now, if you want to get out there and catch up on season 1, 2, and 3, you can do that now. Everything's out there streaming. If you use the code word Haunted Files 25, you get 25% off your annual subscription. And I'm going to play a little trailer from one of our episodes so you can kind of just check out what we do. And which one should I play here? Let's do this one. Located close to the Florida-Georgia line lies a relic of the past. A place where justice was served, lives were lost, and some spirits refused to move on. Oh, shit. Oh. Hello. Pegged, maxed out, dude.
Let's see what you can say to us. Violence, children. Violence, a go.
Oh,
holy moly. Dude, that's...
I don't know, that's wild. There's definitely something going on up here. I can feel it.
I just heard something out there in the hallway. I'm seeing shadow movement behind you and behind the bars.
Really?
Yes.
I heard it like somebody came up in my ear and whispered in and then I thought it was...
And then what happened?
And then I realized you were all the way over there.
That was a super active night, and we froze our asses off.
Yeah, that was the coldest night of the year. Yeah.
You remember when we got that? Was that last year or the year before? When Florida got snow.
That was last year.
Yeah, last year, right? We walked.
That was like the day before.
We walked out to the car after we finished filming and investigating, and what was it, like 3 or 4 in the morning, and there was like a thin layer of frost, and I got like no ice scraper. We had to sit there and like turn the defroster on and wait, and I'm like, God damn it, I want someone to get home.
Yeah, it's not something we see every day in Florida. That's for sure.
Tired.
So yeah, that was pretty wild. So Yeah, let's get back into it now.
So yeah, the Smallwood store, like, that did not disappoint. I mean, especially like after I saw the EVPs that you captured when you
Yeah.
listened to it, when you did the editing on the documentary. It was we got a lot. Even like on the spirit box, we got like some stuff that we didn't pick up on real time.
Yeah.
It all related. A lot of it related to what happened there.
Yeah, I know. Lynn and Todd and a couple others, that store is obviously not big at all.
Super small.
Yeah.
Small
If
wood.
it was any bigger, it'd be called the Big Wood store, but that's for a different type of show. But anyway, but there are some known hot spots just in that little area. Obviously the front, that bedroom is people are
mostly there's a doll that gets moved around and people see
Yeah.
shadow figures in there. I heard footsteps at one point back in there.
There was, I mean, a resounding. A lot of the employees and Lynn herself are like not scared of the back bedroom, but they're not fans of it. Won't go in it when it's dark and stuff. I didn't feel like anything off, but I normally don't. People ask me a lot whether I get affected and whatnot. 9.8 times out of 10, I don't, because I'm so focused on filming and making sure that that I'm getting the shots, making sure the audio's good, and I think it kind of desensitizes me a little bit when I'm looking through a lens or looking at a camera the whole time during an investigation and stuff. If that makes any sense.
No,
Well,
for sure.
if we film again, we're gonna have to make you do an isolation.
I've done those. I've done them. I would have done it that night when you came out. If we wouldn't have gotten kicked out, I would have done the same thing you did. I did it at this old house. The Glen House is my last original that I put out about a month and a half ago. It's a 2-part documentary in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. That house was built in the 1870s, and we all did isolations in there. And it was pitch black. And so
I love that. That's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah. I hate that. I get that Michael and them had to leave that night, but I wish we said this last week, but I wish we could have stayed till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
I feel like you get the most activity when you're by yourself, when it's quiet.
Yeah.
And you can just listen to what's going on and you can hear. And I feel that's the best way. You know what I mean? And
best way is without all the equipment, just your personal experience.
Yeah.
But if you can show that to people, then
that's normally the couple of isolation things that I've done. You don't go in with any type of recorders or anything. You just kind of walk around with the camera and it'd be really dark and just kind of see if anything happens. But I mean, think about the Smallwood store too. I mean, it's pretty much surrounded by water. So, and they say that water is a big conductor of the paranormal stuff too.
You know what else is limestone, and that's what Florida's bedrock is, all limestone. So you have water, you have
plus
limestone.
all that ancient Native American history, like all those little islands there used to be like little villages, and that Chokoloskee Island was a man-made island made out of shellment and
Yeah, I asked Todd that too. Basically, it was like there was the way it started. It was kind of sandbarish, and whoever the Native Americans just started building up, shells until there was enough where they could actually live and that's fascinating. I mean, that
isn't that? Yeah,
hundreds of years. Because he said they dated that island back to maybe 2800 BC. I mean, again, you can't even wrap your head around how long ago that really was.
And you can see the high point of the island right next to the Smallwood store. And I'm sure that those were like sacred grounds. I mean, that could be stirring up stuff that happened, bringing stuff back that happened in the past, whether it's residual or intelligent. But I feel that when we investigated, it was a mixture of both.
Did they ever find any remains from any of the victims at his homestead or anything?
I think I asked that question. And I don't think they did, but you say,
I mean, if he had a boat and you dump them offshore, I mean, they're getting eaten up by everything,
gators
all
and
kinds
stuff.
of critters.
Well, you got to remember also, like Loop Road is just not too far from there, and Loop Road was a logging road when they chopped down all the cypress trees. But during Prohibition, Al Capone had his hideout out there where there was drinking, prostitution, murder.
Sounds like the weekend.
Yeah, and even now, bodies get dumped out there, you know?
It's funny, like, I mean, think about how long ago Ed Watson got murdered. That was pre-Al Capone. You know, Al Capone was what, in the 20s and stuff like that. Ed Watson died in 1910. But you're asking if they ever found any bodies, and I know I'm going to butcher this story, but Todd told me this story that, let me try to just quickly say it, that Ed Watson went up to Atlanta when he was kind of in the prime of making his money on the good farmland from Chokoloskee in that area, which that would have been a haul. I mean, to get up from Southwest Florida up to Atlanta, but somehow he made it up there, and he was drinking at this hotel for a couple of days, this really swanky hotel at the time, you know, 1905 or whatever it was. And there happened to be a journalist from like the Atlanta Constitution happened to be in there, and he interviewed Ed Watson. And I want to say that Ed Watson told him the reason that his crops and stuff grow so big or so well, and or not the reason, but one of the reasons, when they're farming, they would find the bones of like giant humans, like 10-foot plus tall humans, and huge skulls. Again, I could be butchering this story, but there's something that Ed Watson claimed they found, kind of the remains and multiple remains of giant humans that lived on that land and stuff. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard
that you said that, because there's like a similar story, Lake Okeechobee, right, Mike?
Yeah, similar. Yeah, in Lake Okeechobee back in the 30s, there was a drought, and all the farmers, they literally thought, they didn't know what they were finding there. There was these round, half covered in muck.
Yeah.
But these round things, they said there were so many of them that looked like a pumpkin patch, and they ended up finding out they were human skulls. And some of them were elongated skulls like you find down in Peru.
Yeah.
From skull binding. And that was like, to find that in Florida and around Lake Okeechobee was really baffling. They do not know where these people or these skulls came from still to this day.
How far is that from Chokoloskee?
It's middle of the state, the Lake Okeechobee. But yeah, that was pretty wild stuff. Like, there's so much stuff going on here in this state that is, it's just not local knowledge. It's not regular knowledge.
So where do you think his farmland was? Was it like on one of those islands?
Yeah, I mean, because obviously you had the 10,000 islands. I think he had a few different islands where he was able to farm and stuff. Plus, I think where his house was, I'm not sure how. Like I said, I didn't make it out there, but I want to say there was farmland. It was big enough where he had some farmland on where his house is located as well, too.
It would be crazy enough to clear out mangroves and all that crap to build like a plantation and farmland. I mean, and then all the heat and the humidity and
but if he was getting people to do it for him for free and then killing them, then there's no overhead, and what the hell.
But anyways, going back to the Smallwood store and it being haunted and stuff, I think the Native Americans, those spirits are around too. They have to be.
Yeah.
But that's you can say that about a lot of places in the United States as well too. You hear that a lot. But like we said, if that land, Chokoloskee, potentially has been around since 2800 BC, I mean, you're talking about almost 5,000 years, pretty much what they're potentially saying. I mean, there's obviously been some deaths and some bad things that have happened around that area. So I think obviously you guys know that all that plays into a location's activity. So
absolutely,
yeah, there's quite a few places that we have investigated that's tied to like ancient. I mean, like I'm thinking like going back even farther with like the Mayans and the Aztecs. Like, why wouldn't they migrate?
there's the fellow there, right?
Yeah, Ed Watson himself.
Yeah, I got a picture of his dad too. Well, they had one up at the store. I didn't include it in any of our paranormal documentary, but when I do the true crime thing, there is a picture of his dad that was taken back in the late 1800s, 1890s or so. I don't know much about his dad. Like I said, I just heard he was kind of abusive towards him, and I heard he was meaner than Ed Watson was, but I don't know how you'd get much meaner than someone who supposedly killed all these other people.
I know, right?
Yeah, but no, it's crazy, man. Going back to our investigation, and you asked a direct question, which you saw it in the trailer. You asked a direct question: is Ed Watson here, or I can't remember. You said something, and they're like, "Yeah, wait, we killed him." And
yeah,
like, is Ed Watson here? And it's like, "Yeah, I'm right here," or whatever. I mean, we get some direct responses, and then the EVPs, where it was saying that he is right by the door. We can't definitively prove anything, but it's still.
And that door where the dock is, that was the front entrance, not where you see the steps going.
Yeah,
back. That wasn't.
Yeah, because they used to come by water, right? There wasn't.
Yeah,
so the front door was in the back.
Yeah, that was the front back in the day before the main road was built in 1956. But
I say on the way out of this episode too that we might run it again here, just to let everybody that kind of missed maybe in the beginning that's watching now. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, Billy has a documentary coming out on ScareNetwork TV. Eric and Franny were the investigators in it, and it's at the Ted Smallwood store in Chokoloskee, Florida, and they uncovered some really neat paranormal evidence. And I'm going to play that trailer one more time, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Chokoloskee.
This is crazy.
Smallwood store.
We've never investigated this place.
The store was started in 1906. This building here is over 100 years old.
Ted Smallwood purchased half of the island of Chokoloskee, I believe, in 1906 for $600. It has taken on water, I believe, 6 times on this level, last time being Hurricane Irma.
This is our gem on the rough island.
It's a little piece of paradise down here. The store, to me, is authentic Florida.
We're going to stand here and we're going to be quiet.
You definitely don't feel alone down here, even when you're just walking around.
There's a lot of activity in that bedroom, and that's where I seen the shadows.
Is that his original rifle?
Edgar Watson showed up in 1890s down in Chokoloskee at the Smallwood store looking for property to buy. Other people, they would also show up, and Ed put them to work. And when it came time for payment, they were murdered and dropped in the Everglades. In October of 1910, they confronted Ed Watson about what was going on down there. And as he went for his sidearm, that's when he went down in a hail of bullets.
Now this is where Watson was killed.
Ed Bloody Watson.
What happened to Mr. Watson?
Is that Mr. Watson communicating with us?
I don't like to come back in here after I close at all at night because there is just a feeling. It's definitely strange.
Talk to me.
There.
The Smallwood store has definitely stood the test of time.
They say at 2 a.m. people get chased out. You scared?
Awesome.
At midnight, right?
Yeah. So just in a couple hours, we're going to release that and put it out on the platform. And we have apps out on Roku, on Apple TV, Fire TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, the website, ScareNetwork.tv. So, yeah, if you're into the paranormal, if you're into true crime, horror, and monster content, that's kind of what we specialize in. And we've got pretty good at making these paranormal documentaries. And, like I said, I love being able, I say this often, but you can't get the history on every location you go to, because let's say if you go to an abandoned asylum or whatever, and you're just and you're on a time crunch, you're not just going to be able to get. But when you can get the history of a location, the best that has been documented, or and then you get accounts from others who've had experiences at certain locations. And you're able to interject and mix those interviews and those stories in with your paranormal investigations, and you kind of try to, you put it in a pot and try to make it a cohesive story and tell a story and let the paranormal evidence kind of speak for itself. To me, that gives me a lot of gratification as a filmmaker and as a storyteller. And
very talented, by the way.
Thank you. But the Smallwood store, man, it just kind of, the story just kind of told itself, man. The history's great.
Not only is it, very exciting story and intriguing and something that draws you in to kind of watch this. You have the Smallwood store, which is, it looks like it was like you went back in time when you go into this place, right? You have a lot of people don't really know the real Florida, right? That's Florida to me. Back there with the mangroves and the little channels and the cuts running through the Everglades and coming out to the, you got some drone footage there, that a lot of people don't really, they think Florida, they think Miami or Orlando,
South Beach.
Yeah, exactly. When you get to see the rugged side of Florida, and that's kind of a local knowledge place, right? The Chokoloskee, that's, like I said, where a lot of locals go fish and stuff like that. Some amazing fishing out there. Yeah, so it's definitely fascinating, and it's neat to see, and it's a lot of visuals to take in too, and plus you have that amazing story of this history, and now you're adding paranormal evidence on top of it. It's just, it's a really good combination to really draw you in and want to see what's going on. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm proud of what we were able to put together, and like I said earlier, first off, I'm very thankful and for Lynn, the owner of the Smallwood store, whose grandfather was Ted Smallwood, for her, sitting down and giving me a long interview and just kind of telling me the history, telling me about her family, about Ted Smallwood, about Edgar Watson, and then just experiences she's had, and then she helped me line up other interviews of friends and people who work at her store who've had experiences, and that's great because
of that place.
Yeah, because again, the way that I look at it, and you guys know, when you go and do a paranormal investigation, you're not guaranteed to get anything. Well, the way I look at it, if you go to a location like Smallwood and whatever, at least if you can get good interviews and you can get others' experiences, at least you're not walking away with nothing.
Yeah, you got the story. You got the story. You got eyewitness. You got something. Yep. And if you get any paranormal activity on top of it, that's just a bonus.
And you were probably like, God, I hope this paranormal investigator I picked up works out.
I know. I was keeping my fingers crossed. Because I read some bad reviews about you. No,
they were from me.
But we did.
Hopefully, I gave you a great experience.
Yeah, we did the Delco experiment there.
Awesome, I love it. I love that.
Mike's the creator of the goggles.
Yeah, that was interesting. I wish we'd have had more time. I wish we could have done it for 2 nights. We did all this in one night, so that just to give you a little bit of perspective. I felt like if we could have done 2 nights,
you were there in the morning. You were doing all the
I was there early. I was there like 9 o'clock in the morning. I was there all day filming and getting interviews and doing drone and doing all kinds of stuff too.
So, I know most of our episodes that we put out, we film in in a day. You know, we'll come in, we'll fly the drones, get B-roll, interview, and then go straight to investigating. And then like, you know, so
it's kind of nice when you get someone to film you though, and you don't have to worry about all the filming.
I know.
So
Trust me, I wish I could have I wish I had the money to have a camera crew come in and I could just kind of direct and
You will.
and
You will one day.
I know, but
Gotta manifest it.
Yeah, but you know, it's I've been doing this for so long, like video production and stuff for so long, that I kind of know how these things work. I know what I need to get, how I need to get it, and in interviews too. I've done, man, I bet I've done at this point 15,000 interviews. So I know it's weird. I can't explain it because it's so second nature to me. But when I'm doing interviews, I know what I need to hear, and I'm kind of editing in my head. I kind of know what, and a lot of times I don't put words in people's mouth, but I just kind of guide them to say things a certain way. And then even when I'm doing interviews, I'll hear a good soundbite, and I'll think to myself, I won't say it out loud, but I'll think to myself, I'm like, man, that 10-second soundbite, what they just said, will be in the trailer for this, whatever, this particular story or documentary or series that we're doing. And so, but yeah, I mean, going back to the Smallwood store, it photographed really well because, like you said, Mike, it's a museum now, so there's so many old artifacts, and it was overwhelming because I want to get so much B-roll, but there's so much stuff in there. I mean, they have stuff in the rafter, they have stuff in the rafters, they have stuff everywhere, and I captured as much as I could.
Long. You said you could have made it a lot longer.
I run into that too sometimes editing our episodes. I'm like, man, I have such good stuff, but I have to cut out some stuff. I can't put everything in here, or the thing's going to be a movie. You know what I mean? Like I gotta fit it within an hour or so. But yeah, no, exactly. Especially like you said, there's so much there, and it's so interesting, all the things and different things to look at, and yeah, it's very. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Just looking at the trailer, it draws me in. I want to check it out and watch the full deal.
Nice. So we got somebody on YouTube said that they subbed to the ScareNetwork. Thank you.
Awesome. I love
whoever Dangerous Curves is, but yeah, going back to our investigations too. I mean, you know, Eric, we got a couple of EVPs where it was saying, you know, F you. Like, I mean, you could clearly hear it on different occasions. And
Eric has an effect on people.
Yeah. And then what about that EVP
my name called out?
That EVP you did a couple of times. That EVP right at the beginning where it says the devil comes here. I'm like, what does that even mean? I don't even want to.
Yeah, they could be referring to Ed,
the Watson.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the devil.
Yeah, I mean, in their eyes, you know. Like,
yeah,
that could have been a good name for the story. The devil comes here. I'm sure it's been used before.
Dang, that's what I should have named the documentary. Is it too late to change that?
Yeah, I think it's too late. We only got a couple hours until it comes out.
That'll be your documentary. The devil comes here.
But then Lynn would probably be like, "What? No, I can't name that."
That's
documentary.
That's what happens, right? Because a lot of these YouTubers are out there just and they're putting in they're making it tough for us. They're making it tough for the guys that want to tell the story. And you know, because they're demon this, demon devil that.
Man, you don't even have to tell me.
I know, and then so like when we come in and we're like, listen, we're filming a thing, they're like, oh, you know, well, we had a bad experience. I'm like, no, that's not our style. Like, listen, we're coming in, we're telling a story, we're interviewing you. You get to tell the story yourself. You get to tell the history, and then we're going to come in and investigate. Whatever we find is what we put on there. We're not putting any words in anybody's mouth. We're not putting any.
We had to show the final draft before we could play it.
A couple places, like I know Old South Pittsburgh Hospital was real worried about that. We gave them we sent them our final, and they reviewed it and they loved it. But yeah, they're worried about the, you know, that kind of thing.
But that's my philosophy too, man, is just to present what we got, and you know, and then let the audience and those watching it, let them, you know, make judgment on whether they feel like it's paranormal or not. But I mean, I myself have worked with several investigators and stuff who and others who who've just demon this, devil that, evil, and it just gets taxing and wearing. I'm like, man, not everything at every location is that. Like, let's pump the brakes a little bit on that. So it was going back to Smallwood. It's super refreshing to work with you and Franny, because I felt like our personality and stuff kind of meshed. And I mean, I love working with you guys. And then what we shot at the Gold Coast Museum too, man, I'm super excited to put that together too.
With Chris,
you couldn't remember his name the other night.
Chris.
So I was once I dove into editing Smallwood, the documentary, and put it together, I was pleasantly surprised at what we got, because I truly did not feel like we got that much. But it's crazy because I shoot these things, and then I have normally when I shoot a documentary, I have probably 2 or 3 in front of them, so they sit for months on end, unless it's something there's been a couple cases or a couple docs and series that I've done that I've been so excited about that I put them ahead, and then I just do them while they're fresh. But a lot of times I let these things sit because I'm working on other things before them. And then I always go back and tend to be pleasantly surprised at what we got. And Smallwood, like you said, like I keep saying, it did not disappoint. And if we would have had a second night, or if we could have even stayed a few more hours, I was all game to stay a few more hours at that place. But they were very peculiar on who they wanted to lock up and all that. And I respected that. I didn't want to push the boundaries when they had already been. So
just leave us inside, lock us up in there.
Something weird happened to me too when I was driving back to my Airbnb that night. I don't know if I told you, Eric. I mean, it was well past 3 o'clock after I packed up all the gear and whatnot. And my drive back to my Airbnb in Naples was like close to a 30-minute drive. But I was going down that long stretch where there's nothing but the glades on either side. I can't even remember what that road is from Chokoloskee. Do what?
Mamie Trail.
Whatever that long stretch is from Chokoloskee to Naples, where there's about a 15-minute drive where it's nothing but the road and glades and water and stuff on either side.
Mamie Trail. Yep.
Yeah. I can't remember the road number, but anyways, it's dark out there. And if you go off, you're in trouble if you go off that road and go into one of those glades and stuff. But I looked up.
You might hit a gator or a python.
I know that that was in the back of my mind too. But I looked up, and on where my window, where you roll the window down, and then the bar that connects your side window with your front windshield, there was a huge spider. I swear it's like that big. I looked up, and it was so I couldn't get a good angle to kill it, and so I tried to hit it. And that thing was huge too. And I tried to hit it, and I don't know what, and I didn't want to kill it with my hand. So I think it fell down, and there was nowhere for me to pull over on the side of the road, because I'm just riding, like I said, nowhere to pull over.
That's very narrow. It's just a 2-lane road.
Exactly. And there's nowhere to pull over.
And it's just a canal. I mean, rails maybe if you're lucky.
I know. Well, that's why I freaked out.
And it goes into canal.
I don't know if I told you that at the Gold Coast or not, but it really freaked me out. And I thought that was really weird that happened after that long investigation and being there all day, that spider just all of a sudden shows up on the side of the thing. And me being a filmmaker, I probably should have just pulled out my cell phone and tried to film it. But then I'm driving 60 miles per hour. It was just all these weird things happening. But that spider, I mean, when I actually got to somewhere where I could pull off, and I did pull off, I got out and had my flashlight. I never saw it in the car or anything. So I don't know if that was some weird sign coming from doing a paranormal investigation that topped in the car with me or not. I'm probably overthinking things, but that freaked me out. I mean, spiders don't Yeah, spiders don't freak me out that bad. But I'm not a fan. Them are snakes, not a fan at all.
No, I
So,
hate snakes.
but what was more kind of terrifying was, like I said, the helpless feeling of not being able to pull off on the side of the road, not knowing if I killed the spider, not wanting to wreck in front of the so it was just a weird set of
who's gonna rescue me?
Exactly. I don't think I passed another car at 3:00 in the morning going down that long stretch. So but that kind of all that kind of goes back to the uniqueness of the Smallwood store and the isolation of where it's at out there on that island too. So
very isolated.
Yeah, it was a very, very neat investigation, a very cool story to tell. And again, thank you guys for being a part and coming down and taking your time out of your schedule to do it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, Mike, you need to get there, man.
Yeah, I'm just a phone call away.
I know. I'm gonna try to take the time and see if we can set something something up at some point and get back down there and do something else.
All right, cool.
Yeah,
sounds good. So yeah, one more chance. One more time. We'll tell listeners where they can watch this and when it's coming out. Yeah, let Billy tell you where you can watch it. And
yeah, so our streaming platform is just ScareNetwork.tv, and if you just type in your web browser ScareNetwork.tv, you can go to the website, and we have apps out on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, a couple others.
Do they have to register on the website? Someone was asking me that they were trying to do it on their app and couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's weird. The easiest way is to do it on the website and then log into the apps, which it's that way with even bigger sites too. But I mean, you can register on the apps, but some people do have issues, man. This, doing a streaming service is no small feat. So you gotta, there's always bugs and stuff that have to be fixed and whatever. But we're doing the best we can with what we have. But it's the streaming platform, it's paranormal, it's horror, it's true crime, and it's monster content. And we're still young and we're growing. And every time we drop an original like this is very exciting to me, because we're creating something from nothing and being able to put it out to the world and put it out on our platform that we created. And so only $4.99 a month. You cancel anytime. And so you Smallwood be coming out tonight at midnight, here in a couple hours, less than a couple hours. And then there's
follow
so
him on social media. You're on Facebook, you're on Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, we get our biggest response on TikTok. I used to couldn't stand TikTok.
That's the new thing now, TikTok.
I know, and people seem to really like the Scare Network on TikTok for whatever reason. So, but yeah, thank you guys for having me on here, man. I definitely want to. I want to come back and be a guest again, and I want to shoot some more stuff with you guys too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's fantastic having you back. It's always good to have you here. And for me, guys, if you want to check out any of my personal social media accounts, the easiest way is to go to FLA Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow to the Haunted Files Unplugged YouTube channel. And make sure you check out the Haunted Files on ParaFlixx. You can also go to our website, thehauntedfiles.com, for more information as well.
If you combine both subscription prices, I think it still comes out less than Discovery Plus. And on Discovery Plus, there's nothing new, unless you want to watch Zach Bagans all the time.
They might as well change that name to the Bagans Plus.
Yeah,
exactly. And then for me, you can find me Ghost Hunter of South Florida on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and on Facebook, Eric Vanderlaan. And for our new people, subscribe to the Haunted Files YouTube page. We'd appreciate it. Like our show and come back. We welcome you.
That's right. So hopefully we'll see you back, and we'll see you guys next Monday, 9:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thanks again, Billy.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night. Have a good Thanksgiving too.
You too.
Happy Thanksgiving,
everybody go check out Smallwood.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And make sure you go check it out. Check out Smallwood at the ScareNetwork TV.